What's going on, everybody? What is going on? We are back with another stream here on the Torian Rain Reloaded channel. It is June 13th, 2024. It's been a few hours since you last heard from me. I told y'all earlier when I did the last stream that I was going to be coming on here to do another stream later on this evening because I wasn't sure or not if I was going to be available tomorrow evening. Either way, this is the stream that was going to happen tomorrow. So you're getting it today. But if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Shout out to all the members, everybody over on Patreon, all of that good stuff, and everyone who sends me stories to talk about. Before we get into all of this, let me acknowledge the people who are here so far. We have the Anti-Sheep, Corel, Booby Traps, Craig Colson, Tori Tate, Reparations Nations, Firebat, Hacksign KT, The Church of Black Power, St. Maurice, Wallow J, Denise Scale, Savion Draco Zero, Joseph Washington, RDRD, The Church of Black Power, Andre Edwards, Trini to the Bone, Matthew Wilson, Anita Harrell, FBA Bro Reese, Black to Black, Letitia Bobby Wright, Chris Vesey, Deneen, and that is it so far. But shout out to everybody that's coming in. And Patty Brown, what's going on? Okay, so last week, if y'all remember, last Thursday, and that's why it was perfect for me to do the stream either today or tomorrow, but good thing I'm doing it today. So exactly a week ago, I did a live stream before I went to go see Bad Boys Ride or Die, which was a very good movie, by the way. Y'all could hear how I expressed myself when I did my review. I had talked about Variety and how they wrote this article talking about will audiences embrace Will Smith after the slap that happened over 2 years ago at the Oscars towards Chris Rock, and how I had to clown them about that. Well, now here we are spinning the block, but this time on somebody else who basically is echoing the same sentiments, and that person is Stephan A for Asshole, always off code, receiving headline Smith. Yeah, he came out and he did this 4-minute video, which I'm going to show to y'all today. There's going to be some other videos I'm going to show y'all as well, about basically the same thing that Variety was trying to ask the same thing, but in his own off-code way. So hold on to your seats, because we know in here how many of us do not like that man, and he's going to annoy you. I'm just giving you a heads up. I only watched part of the video. I didn't watch the whole thing. And when I say part, I think about a good 5 to 10 seconds. So before we get into that, I'm going to start off with, I'm not even going to read the article. I'm just going to show it to you. But before we get into everything, shout out to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence for having the #1 movie in America and globally, to be quite honest, because Bad Boys Ride or Die, the 4th installment of the Bad Boys franchise, made a global debut of $104.6 million. Mind you, the budget for the movie was $100 million. So it made $4.6 million more than how much it cost for the movie to make. It made $56 million domestically and $104.6 million globally. So shout out to them. This was actually huge because this movie actually overperformed. They expected this movie to actually not make that much, but because of what happened, that's what they were banking on. But guess what? Black people made up the bulk of the audience for this movie. I think if I remember correctly, in the demographic breakdown, they said Black people made up 44% of the audiences that paid to go see this movie in the theaters. So that's almost 50% right there that went to go support this. And remember how I was saying last week, they always try to say at one point in time that movies with Black leads don't sell. Well, here you have a movie with 2 Black leads and a supporting cast that's Black, that's majority Black too, that sold, that did pretty well. And this was a win that Sony needed, because Sony in their movie department, especially when it comes to their superhero movies, quote unquote, or their comic book movies, don't do well at all. So this is technically the so far this year, if you're basing it on budget, Bad Boys Ride or Die is technically like the first movie this year to actually make the money it was supposed to without being in the red. So shout out to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence on that accomplishment. And shout out to Till Dog 12 for kicking us off with the super chats. He said Stephan A. Smith is already backpedaling after the backlash. I'm sure he is. I bet he is, because he felt that heat. But it's no matter how much backpedaling he do, what he said the first time is what he meant.
It's busy up here. Woo! I'm rich! I got money.
Shout out to Till Dog 12 for the super chat. But yeah, shout out to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Congratulations to them. The box office, in case y'all didn't know, Will Smith had the title of the summer box office king. I think it's safe to say that he still holds that title, because this is another movie that's come out summer-wise that grossed over $100 million in its opening weekend. So shout out to Will Smith in that regard. So now that we've gotten that part out of the way, let's go into what y'all really came here to see, and also not want to see, but since he's the subject matter of this video, of this stream, Stephan A. Smith. Goddamn. That's all I gotta say. Goddamn. So Stephan A. Smith, he's on his podcast, and he decided to do his little, I don't know if this is an outro or an intro. I don't watch his show, so I can't tell you when he actually said what he said in this, but let's just go ahead and get into this. Oh, he said the headline says Stephan A. That slap had impact beyond Chris Rock and Will Smith.
When we use the word forgivable or forgiveness, that's for Chris Rock to deal with. It's his call. He could have had the man arrested that night and insisted to the LAPD that not be the case. Could have pressed charges thereafter and insisted on not doing that to Will Smith, not making the incident any bigger than what it was. Yes, he came out with his own flick for next fix, got about $20 million for it. After tax, he probably walked home with about $6 million.
Why are you watching his pockets? Do you wish that's what you walked home with? The only thing that Will Smith and Stephan A. Smith have in common is their last name. But as far as levels of success, they're worlds apart. Just like he's going to be wrong about everything he's going to say in this video. I'm calling it now just in case no one has seen it yet.
But Chris Rock is damaged. In the day and age of mental illness or traumatic incidences that affects one's mind and psyche and what have you, yeah, you might see him at Knicks games. Yeah, you might see him still going about the business of performing on tour or doing his job or handling his business. Chris Rock will never get over that.
I don't know. Have you talked with Chris Rock about that, Stephan A? Are you his sponsor? Are you his handler? Because last I checked, didn't Chris Rock do a special talking about the slap? He made a whole special around it with Netflix and everything, which I'm sure Netflix paid him well. Will Smith even came out and apologized personally to Chris Rock. And Chris Rock, to me, it sounds like he accepted the apology, and they have both since moved on. Why are you still talking about it? Mind you, this video that he's doing popped up after the movie came out. This was not before. This was after the movie came out. I think it was probably out after they revealed that the movie was #1 in the box office and made the amount of money that it did.
Ever. Will Smith apologized.
And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Nothing more needs to be said. You're dragging it. All for clicks and views. If this is his attempt of trying to get Will Smith to be on his platform, this is a failed attempt.
I'm not saying he even has to apologize.
He already did. What are you talking about? He says Will Smith apologized and saying, I'm not even saying he has to apologize. He already apologized, you dingbat.
Saying that while I watch him and Martin Lawrence promoting this movie, And I'm quite sure the reason he hasn't addressed it is because the studios don't want him to. And
why would you want them to address that in every interview that he does? The interviews for the promotion of this movie should only be about the movie. Why would you want them to see? He's telling on himself. He's telling on himself because that's what he would do. Stephen A. Smith loves drama, especially if it's drama surrounding another black person, specifically another black man. Now, Will Smith is not even in the realm of sports. He's an actor. He's a movie star. Stephen A., stick to sports. Entertainment is not your lane. It really isn't.
And there's an obligation that you have with them. All fair. I get it. But somewhere along the way, he has to sit down and talk to the black community. You can see all the white people around Will Smith all you want to.
Why does he have to sit down and talk to us? Remember last week when I was saying that Will Smith doesn't owe us an apology? He didn't hit us. He apologized to the person he was supposed to apologize to. Why does Will Smith have to apologize to us? And if KG was in here right now, he'd be like, that's a good one right there. Screenshot it, y'all, while I have it paused. Because that's exactly what he's doing right now, is bucking his eyes while doing the Sambo shuffle. Again, why does Will Smith have to apologize to us? He didn't do anything to us. And like somebody just said in the chat, JB Easy says, but he don't have that energy for Dana White. He really doesn't. Remember, when it came to Dana White and Dana White hit his wife on camera in that club, he didn't come and make this type of video. With Jerry Jones, he says, I just have a lot of respect for Jerry Jones. Remember that picture with Jerry Jones, that 1960s Jim Crow-ish picture that everybody kept trying to throw the cape on for Jerry Jones for? And now you got him crashing out over Caitlin Clark.
Black folks have loved and revered this man.
He says love and revered and past tense, like black people still don't like Will Smith. Clearly they do, because they went out and saw the movie in droves this past weekend. Clearly they do. And the next video I'm going to show you proves just that.
For decades.
He just mad because nobody going out there in droves to come and see him.
He was the closest thing to perfection, as his friend Charlie Mack once told me. For decades. Everybody makes a mistake. This is not hatred. I love Will Smith.
Yes, it is hate, Stephen A. You can try to dress it up and fancy it up any way you possibly think you can, but this is hate. This is jealousy right here. In your mind, Will Smith was not supposed to be able to recover. He wasn't supposed to bounce back from that. In his mind, that's just what that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying out loud without actually saying it.
Still. But you got to have a conversation.
A conversation with who? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who? A conversation with who? The only other person that I could think of Will Smith having a conversation with that's, outside of who he should be talking to is maybe a therapist. He may have gone to therapy. He might have a therapist. That's the only other person I could see him talking to. He's not obligated to explain himself to us. And this is the other thing that pisses me off about Stephen A. Smith and people like him. He positions himself to be the voice of black people, like we need him to be our mouthpiece. We don't need you saying not a damn thing for us, Stephen A. Not with the way you've been carrying on lately. I'm sure some of y'all in here are subscribed to Kid Gravity and saw the way he was going off on those women on First Take about Caitlin Clark, being all sassy for no reason.
As to why you did that. And when you're apologizing, and when you're getting emotional, and when you're thinking about all the lives or the people that you've affected, it's primarily us as black people who
I'm gonna ask the chat this. When that happened over 2 years ago, how long did y'all dwell on that before y'all moved on to the next thing? I'm gonna tell you this. When that happened, I did one video on that, and that was it. A lot of people dragged it out because of content purpose. It was moving numbers for them in the algorithm. Hey, it is what it is. But for me, I was moved on for that. Do y'all know what else happened that week? Can anyone in the chat tell me what else happened that same week that occurred on the Oscars? I want to see if anybody else can tell me, and if not, that'll prove my point. Well, damn. Mr. Williams is on it. How many people remembers that? We know the name, but do y'all remember what happened? Yes, that same week, literally maybe a day or two later, Ezra Miller got into multiple physical incidents with people in Hawaii at a hotel resort. I mean, he threw a chair at a woman because she was singing a song he didn't like. He allegedly broke into someone's hotel room and stole some stuff. All of that happened the same week as that, but they didn't say a word because all they focused on was Will Smith. Yeah, assaulted the woman during karaoke. For some reason, that man loves to put his hands violently on women. Where them women's groups at to condemn him? Why didn't you talk about that, Stephan A? Since you want to move your mouth and talk about everything else, why didn't you say anything about that? How is it that a person in my position who's nowhere near where Stephan A is as far as talking about the news and current events know about that and he didn't talk about it? And the thing about it is, a lot of people who work for him, they go and find news and stuff for him to talk about. And I know he has to see it come across his desk, but he chooses to talk about when he wants to talk about. So that means he probably heard about it, but chose to ignore it. Exactly, Firebad. We know why. Ezra's part of the Trinity.
Who have loved and supported you and watched you go on an international stage and slap one of us in the face.
He didn't slap you, Stephan A. Although I'm sure there's some people out there in the world who probably wished to do that. And I'm sure you've probably heard some people actually say they wanted to, which is probably why you are tucked away in that little studio of yours. That's where you talk shit from in your own little echo chamber, because you know the minute you step outside, let me be quiet.
And tarnished an historic event for one of the great black producers of modern times in Will Packer, possibly costing yourself and Antoine Fuqua an Oscar for emancipation along the way. I'm not going to say what you did to the comedic community. Hell, Jim Carrey spoke about that along with various others. We know you wouldn't have smacked Ricky Gervais.
A lot of people forget about the time that Will Smith had to pop somebody on that red carpet for doing something inappropriate. And that was a white guy, and I think he was overseas. So now he's going into he's bringing up talking points that people already brought up when this first happened about, oh, Will Smith will go up on stage and slap a black guy, but I bet he won't get up in there and slap a white guy. How do you know he wouldn't? He wouldn't have. We know you wouldn't, Stephan A. You would come to their defense, as you have been doing for so long. How do you think you maintain that job over there at the House of Mouse that owns ESPN?
Bill Maher, Bill Burr, or a host of others. We know you wouldn't have done that. No apology necessary. I'm just saying, a lot of folks ain't get over that.
Stephen A, if this is your way of saying you ain't, first off, Stephen A, this is fake outrage. A lot of people have gotten over. See how what I mean when I be saying he sits up here and he thinks he talks for the majority? Speak for yourself. This is a moment where you should not be saying no us or no we. Just say I. Speak in the third person like you like to do, and speak for yourself. You don't speak for us. But see what I mean? He's positioned himself as the quote unquote mouthpiece of the Black community when he's definitely far from it. Notice I said he positioned himself. We didn't put him there.
A lot of folks find it hard to just go to the movies to watch you.
What? What did I just go over in the previous? That's why I showed the first article first. He says a lot of people find it hard to go to the movies to watch you. Stephen A, did you not look at them numbers? Did you not see that Black people went out in droves and were the highest demographic to go watch the movie this past weekend? Trust me, man, let me get through this so I can show y'all the other video to really shut down Stephen A's whole argument.
I'm one of those people. And I never missed a Will Smith movie.
Stephen A, the movie still was a success even without your little measly $20 or how much it costs for you to go watch a movie. He made it seem like him not going is going to somehow affect the box office, which clearly, evidently, it didn't.
Itch, Concussion, all the Bad Boys movie from the first one to y'all with Gabrielle Union, who, by the way, should have been in 3 and 4, by the way.
Now he mentioned, now I don't know. All you can do is really just laugh at this buffoonery, y'all. That's all you can really do. Stephen A, if you wanted a part in the movie, why didn't you just say so?
Along with a host of other things. I Am Legend, Independence Day, Men in Black, 1, 2, and 3.
So now you're running down his resume of all classic good movies. Stephen A, you're mad because your resume could never stack up to that, like in any capacity. Will Smith has more success and talent in the underneath of his pinky fingernail than you have in your whole receding ass hairline. He's naming movies that I watch and that I think all of us in here have seen and liked and probably watched more than one time. Well, thank you for running down the resume.
Will Smith, you're phenomenal. Phenomenal talent, phenomenal actor, phenomenal individual. You lost your way one night. We need to hear that from you.
Oh, shut the... Okay, I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm done with Stephen A. Y'all. Man. Exhausting, y'all. Exhausting. Now, I'm going to show y'all a video, but I'm going to have to play the disclaimer right quick. I'm going to show y'all a video that I got off of 9mag TV that showed, or is going to put to bed, what Stephen A said about Black people not supporting him. So let me go ahead and show this right now. Some of you may or may not have seen this, but it's going to probably put a smile on some of you all's faces, especially if you were in this position.
I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right there. So y'all pretty much get the gist of it. So basically, what happened was Will Smith, he went and sat in the back of the theater. He had his hat on, he had a mask on, so people didn't know it was him. And he came in after the movie had started, and he sat in the back row at the very top at an empty seat that probably he most likely was purchased, so he could sit there. And then when the people was leaving out of the theater, he came out and surprised them and said, "I'm glad y'all enjoyed the movie." You saw all them black people out there. Does it look like any of them said, "Ew, I don't want to be by Will Smith. You slap Chris Rock. Ew, get away from me"? First off, if they did that, why did you even pay to go see his movie? That would be number one. Them people got wide-eyed and starstruck, pulled out their phones and was screaming and crying and yelling his name and was just glad to be there taking selfies. Stephan A, you're just mad because you can't do that. I don't know. If this is supposed to be people who have not forgiven someone, then apparently the definition of forgiven has been swapped for something else. Apparently. And that's a lot of people right there. And the thing is, when people leave out of the theaters like that, they usually kind of scatter, but it was like a whole mob of people. But that just shows you right there how many people were in the theater. That's a lot of people. Shout out to the Church of Black Power for becoming a member of the channel. I appreciate it.
It's busy up here. I got money.
Appreciate it. But yeah, it looks to me like the support is still there. To be honest with you, so for many people, the support never left. And the thing is, yes, it was a shocking moment right there. A lot of people wish it didn't go down the way that it did, but you never know what someone's mindset is in that moment. But then when people started to realize who Chris Rock really is, then that's when people was like, you know what? I probably wouldn't have did it the way Will did, but at this point, I'm not mad that he did it. So again, shout out to Will Smith. For those who said that they felt like he was going to be canceled and all of that, that doesn't look like someone who has been canceled to me. Now, there's one more thing I'm going to share with y'all. And I said, you know what? I might as well share this because it does connect with what we're talking about here. And that's this video involving Rob Schneider. Now, Rob Schneider, he's been around for years. I first saw him when he was in Home Alone 2 back in 92. Of course, it was a little bit later for me because I was very young. But yeah, that's the first time I saw him. But he really got put on by Adam Sandler. So he could thank Adam Sandler for the bulk of his career. But he decided to pop up now and basically say and air out his so-called grievances with Will Smith. But it's something he said in here when I watched this the first time that made me pause the video and say, wait, what did he just say? And when that part comes up, I'll pause it again so y'all can really marinate on what he said.
Will Smith is a twat.
Oh, I liked him.
Will Smith has been hiding the fact of who he really is, and it was exposed that night. That he's really an asshole. But I wasn't.
See, he's saying all this behind this microphone, but he wouldn't dare say that to Will Smith's face. See, that's the thing. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith saying that thing behind his little hobbit hole, won't say it to his face. Rob Schneider sitting it and saying it on some kind of a show, and he won't say that to his face either.
He's really an asshole. But I wasn't allowed to say anything at that time because we were part of the committee that was
Right.
supposed to punish him.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Let me run that back again.
At that time because we were part of the committee that
Right.
was supposed to punish him.
Did y'all hear that? I wasn't supposed to say anything at that time because I was a part of the committee that was supposed to punish him. Rob, that was not a Freudian slip. What committee are you talking about? And who's on this committee? And who do y'all go after the most? Part of what committee? Now, in case y'all are unaware, Rob Schneider is a sombrerito. They come from the same flock that tried to get on black people last year because we didn't speak about what's going on over there overseas. I'm still trying to figure out what committee that's supposed to punish him. And the way that he made it sounds like he's been on this so-called committee for quite some time. This wasn't something that just popped up.
And how do you punish him?
Wow, wait. Just
And see, now it caught the female co-host off guard because now she's like, wait, a committee? Wait, what?
back up a second. Hang on.
I want to know
Will
what the punishment
Smith is like, for me, when I met him, right? I always say,
Like the nicest,
yes.
most wonderful. He's a
Yeah.
liar, complete utter fraud. Will is a douchebag, and that's something that you can't. The thing is, that's how politically correct the Academy is.
right.
That they were so cowardly. Because if I would have done that, they would have been hauled out to prison. But because like they were so worried about being, racist, violence is what it is, and what the color of your skin or your religion doesn't matter.
Sure.
If you commit a crime in front of other people, you get hauled out of there.
Yeah, but didn't you also sort of think, oh, he's standing up for his missus? You didn't like that?
It doesn't matter. You can't hit another dude.
So basically, what Rob is basically saying, you can't like Will Smith is beyond the place of being forgiven for anything. Yet Robert Downey Jr. was able to bounce back. Alec Baldwin was able to go back and work on his movie after he unalived someone, accident or not. Someone lost their life on that set. Back to business as usual. Roman Polanski was free to gallivant for years and won an Oscar. He won an Oscar after they knew what he had did to that underage girl. And he got a standing ovation. And where he at? Somewhere overseas getting asylum, and they're just now going after him in 2024. But Rob don't got nothing to say about them. Talking about some committee. That's the part right there that is like the major focal point when he said a part of a committee that was supposed to punish him. Told on himself. Like Cat Williams said at the beginning of the year, this is the year of exposure right here. All I'm going to say is this. If you are a black person, especially a black man in that industry, y'all better be careful with the company that you all keep. Because if it's people like that floating around out here, y'all are in trouble. It's like they're keeping surveillance or tabs on you. And if you step, if you step out of line one time, that is it. 7, I'm still trying to figure out this committee. Let me run it back again.
The fact of who he really is, and it was exposed that night. That he's really an asshole. But I wasn't allowed to say anything at that time because we were part of the committee that was supposed to punish him.
There you go. But like I said, he's saying all of this about Will Smith way after the fact. Because see, the thing is, Rob Schneider would not have said this if Will Smith got quote unquote canceled. But then again, he probably would have, because why not continue to be the man while he's down? But because Will Smith is up and Rob Schneider is down, now he's going to have this. See, the thing is, Rob did this so people could try to come at Will Smith in another way and say, well, we heard Rob Schneider said that you was really an asshole and all this, that, and the third. Let's go dig and see if we can find anything to actually prove that. I'm going to tell you something right now. A lot of people don't have enough respect for Rob Schneider to even look something like that up. All I'm going to also say is, Rob Schneider bet not have no bones buried somewhere that someone can dig up and put out on him. Haxon, I have no idea what committee he's talking about, but when he said that, that's what made my antennas perk up. Exactly, Corey said. What about Woody Allen? Hollywood forgave him. Of course they did. See, they're very selective. But that's what I want, because at first, when it came to this video, I said, do I turn this into a separate video or incorporate it into this live? I said, let me incorporate it into the live since they're connected, even though it's not Stephen A. Smith. But that's that. But if anybody would like to come up and speak to this, feel free to do so. We have 321 people in the live right now. If y'all can do me a grand favor and hit the like button, if you haven't done so already, I would greatly appreciate that if you did. All right, we first got up here. Wallow J, what's going on?
What's going on, Torian? What's going on, everybody in chat? We talking about the same Rob Schneider whose best movie was him acting like an underage teenage girl, right? That Rob Schneider, because that was his best movie, if you be honest with you.
I forgot about that movie.
Yeah. Wasn't, yeah, I remember. Jesus Christ, I remember that movie. Ain't that the same dude that had that? I said, you know what? Hollywood did him dirty anyway. He never recovered from that. So let's not go there with him. After that movie, I don't think he ever recovered. But anyway, Stephen A, shut your bitch ass up. Nobody cares about what you got to say anymore. I've really lost all respect for him over the years. It's not even funny. I used to respect the hell out of Stephen A for what he did coming up in the industry. Now it's like, fuck you. Now he bringing down Shannon Sharp with his ass, and Shannon getting exposed too.
Yeah,
and that's sad.
I got some choice words about him too, about the whole Caitlin Clark thing.
November 5th can't come fast enough, man. I'm out.
Right. B1. Shout out to Wallow J for coming up. Next up, we got LB. What's going on?
What's up, Torian? Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you.
So I talked about this on my YouTube channel a couple days ago, right? And Stephen A. Smith was name dropping all these folks, right? Like, for one, he was dropping Jim Carrey. Now, mind you, this was the same Jim Carrey that forcibly kissed Alicia Silverstone at an awards show one night.
Yeah, I remember that.
Then he also dropped Louis C.K. Now, mind you, Louis C.K., Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld, and Ricky Gervais. That's the name he dropped, Ricky Gervais. They was all on a low segment together. They were dropping the N-word like it was going out of style. Chris Rock didn't say anything about it. It took Jerry Seinfeld of all people to say something about that. But this who Stephen A. Smith wanted to call him a quote name drop. You wouldn't do this, that, and the third. And he's a flaming hypocrite because he wouldn't do none of that stuff. When it came to all those white athletes, when it came to the jab and all that, he treated that situation with kid gloves, but he went all in on Kyrie Irving, though.
Yep.
He tried to get Kyrie Irving kicked out the NBA. And when Monica McNutt cooked him the way she did, she had proof, she had the receipts, because 3 years ago, Stephen A. Smith wouldn't talk about the WNBA. You know why? Because it wasn't beneficial to him at the time, at least financially. Remember, this man said on a Tamron Hall interview that he wakes up with two things on his mind. How can I make my boss's money, and how can I get some of it?
Exactly.
You follow that principle, his actions govern his principle.
Exactly. That
So
man has no morals.
no,
None.
he ain't got no morals. But he's still up here. But anytime black community go at him, then he want to wear cross colors jackets on ESPN.
Terrible.
Come on. Then when you talk about Rob Schneider ain't got no room to talk. I'm like, the only reason these clowns and Stephen A saying the things he say pretty much open the floodgates for these dimwits, dunderheads, dodo birds, and donuts who ain't with Will Smith at to come in and run their mouth like that. Cause notice all your A-list celebrities ain't talking trash about Will Smith. It's all these crows that want to be where the Eagles at.
Yep.
So Rob Schneider, what he do? Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. That movie ain't no. Who remembers that compared to Independence Day?
Exactly. I don't think
So
Rob Schneider has ever been in a movie or a big giant movie like that. Not to my knowledge. He's been
no,
most of his roles have been like on the comedy side. They were more grounded.
right. And then you talk about Home Alone, but he wasn't no main character in Home Alone. He was a
He
supporting
wasn't.
character.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I remember. That's why I said that's the first movie I remember seeing him in was Home Alone. He was playing. Think about it. He was playing supporting characters for years, and it wasn't until he did Deuce Bigelow where he got like his first like lead role, and that was like in the early 2000s. And Rob Schneider been in the industry probably since like the 80s.
Right.
Meanwhile, Will Smith came out the gate swinging. After he dropped his first rap album, he started getting deals, and he ended up with his first big role, which was his own show.
Right. They're just mad that a rapper is better at acting than they are.
Yeah,
That's what they're mad at. Because
Will has done more. Will has done more lead roles than supporting.
right. So I'm like, you know, when I think about clowns like Rob Schneider and all that, man, he can get up out of here. So where was this outrage? He talked about the Academy. There was a guy that worked for the Academy. He was an Academy member, Jeffrey Cooper. He was out here being the Chester. I'm not going to, you know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. If you know, you know. He's doing 8 years in prison for being the Chester. Where was the outrage from Rob Schneider on that? See, it's all selective outrage and situational ethics when it comes to them. If they check if a person check a number of boxes, then we're going to display this fake outrage, right? Even though we've moved on from that because nobody cared about the Oscars before Will Smith went cacao across Chris Rock's face.
Yeah.
Nobody cared about the Oscars. People were planning their week, meal prepping and all that. They don't care about the Oscars. But when Will Smith say cacao right across Chris Rock's face, it was the number one trending topic on every social media outlet. But anyway, I ain't trying to take up too much of your time. I thank you for having me on, man. I'll see you on Saturday, bro.
All right.
All
Thanks
right,
for
man.
coming up. Shout out to LB. Next up, we got AW1. What's going on?
Hey, Torian.
What's going on?
It's going good. Just had my CT scan today.
Okay.
But they might need to check on some with Stephen A. Yeah. I don't know what he's on. We're mad? Nah, man. We been over that. He's literally. It's funny. He's literally trying to get us to hate Will Smith, but it ain't gonna work. Because most black people don't even like him. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Exactly. What you just said.
Yeah, because I mean, look at his track record. I remember when Mark Cuban came out and said he was what he said about black folks. If I say a black dude, I'm crossing the street. He's one of the first black people, to come out and defend him.
Mm-hmm. He does that quite often. That's a routine thing for him.
Basically, and he was the first black dude to defend Dana White when he got caught slapping around his lady. Like you said, and what the other brother said, the last one, he said a lot of stuff I wanted to say, but I mean, I guess we said it all. His track record's not very good with black folks, and I'm glad Will Smith's movie did well. It just shows you. It just I mean, and the fact that they're still trying to keep him down, it's really pathetic and sad by him to put out fake outrage like this. But we're our own individuals, we're our own people. and we're rocking with Will, and Will's winning. It already happened. He apologized. He already got punished. Move on. He should move on.
Exactly.
But all right, Torian, I'll let you go, man. Beat one. Keep doing your thing.
He won. A lot of people forget that the punishment that Will Smith got was the fact that he can't even go to the Oscars for, well, at the time they gave him a 10-year ban, so he can't go back into 2032. He can still get nominated for movies, but he can't actually attend the show. So let's hypothetically say that he wins, they'll have to deliver his Oscar. But let's be real here, it would be so awkward. It would be so awkward. And honestly, I think while Will Smith has this ban on him right now, where he can't go to the Oscars, just do movies that would not be considered Oscar bait, like a Bad Boys. Like that's not an Oscar bait film. Just that means you can have fun with this. It doesn't have to be so, I guess you can say so condensed, if that's, you know, the best way of putting it. All right, next up, let's see. Xavier, what's going on?
Hey, brother Torian, back
What's going on?
again.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on this. So I think the main issue I have with Stephen A. Smith, besides the fact that I think one of the brothers that spoke earlier actually put it best. Well, he is more or less shitting on his own legacy of he could have been something better than this, but he chose to pal up with known white supremacists like Sean Hannity of all people.
Or as I call him,
He
Sean
calls
Clanity.
Sean Clanity, exactly, his friend, calling him his buddy, going to bat for someone who was literally at a rally against desegregating schools. His picture was out there, and he couldn't call him out on it because he says it's his friend. I mean, come on. It's very obvious what he's doing. He doesn't go to bat for black people. He hardly ever does that. But when it's time to put black people down, he's the first Negro out there doing the song and dance, and it's sad. I just think at the end of the day, like you said, November 5th can come quick enough. These guys, the grift needs to end, and it will. I think Will Smith for the most part. I didn't like how he handled that situation. Like I mentioned before, I think when this came up, I didn't like the way he handled that situation. But I understand better now why he did it. And Chris Rock really has been very off code for a number of years. And I'm not saying that he deserved to be humiliated like that in public, but I mean, if anyone if anyone needed to be humiliated for at least some of the things that he's done in the past, it's Chris Rock. But I digress. Again, I didn't agree with that, but I still think that saying that Will Smith owes the black collective an apology is ridiculous.
Exactly.
This is a beef between two grown men, and they handle their business. They handle their business like adults. They don't have to. He doesn't owe anybody else an apology but the guy he hit. And Chris Rock has made it quite clear that that it is what it is. Whatever is happening between them, they can settle it out themselves. What we care about is Will Smith being one of the greatest black actors in the history of modern film. And if he keeps doing that, well, we applaud him. And like again, it's not about him. It's not about we don't need him to apologize to us. He didn't slap us. He slapped Chris Rock, and that's the end of that story. The last thing I'm gonna say, Rob Schneider is a joke. That dude, he just randomly, and it's sad because I actually kind of liked him growing up, like because I mean some of his movies were funny, not but then obviously I knew him better as kind of like Adam Sandler's sidekick or something. He's never been a real lead man in most of his movies. and then all of a sudden he just turns into this anti-woke MAGA lunatic that's just out of freaking nowhere. And I'm like, bro, now he's coming to talk about Will Smith, and that whole committee thing is very sus. I think it's something to do with the Academy. That's the Academy of Film.
Oh, the ones over the Oscars.
Yeah, exactly. I think it has more to do with that. But then it begs the question: why the hell is Rob Schneider of all people on the committee like that? He's not really done anything noteworthy like that to be put, except for the fact that he's part of the small hat brigade. So that's about it. They get to coast through life, most of them. So anyways, fuck him and his opinions. I think Will Smith is doing great, and I think I think it's cool that as black people we can still go ahead and cheer on people like Will Smith, regardless of what the mainstream media has to say about it. So yeah, thanks for having me on, and
No problem.
you keep doing the good work you're doing.
Appreciate it.
Be one, brother.
Be one. Shout out to Xavier for coming up. Next up, we got the Church of Black Power. What's going on?
How you doing, Torian?
I'm doing good.
Great, man. I'm catching the shades of Black Panther vibes. You remember when Black Panther was going to drop and they were saying, well, because there were all black leads and things like that, how they flop?
Yep,
Exactly.
I remember that because they tried to say. I actually remember one of the headlines. They said that they predicted that in the opening weekend that Black Panther was going to make like $90 million. I looked at them and I said, "Oh, you must not know. Black people been waiting forever for this, and it's coming out in Black History Month too. Oh, you already know Black people gonna run out in droves, and they did. I mean, that movie was #1 for like an entire month."
It was beating out the Avenger movies.
They had to they ended up having to pull the movie. This is before, of course, before the pandemic. So they had a longer theatrical run at that time. They had to pull the movie from the movie theaters prematurely so it didn't run into the release of their Blu-ray. Because they said if they didn't do it, that thing would have been running it would have probably ran through the month of May. Mind you, came out in February. That thing was still in the theaters all the way into like mid-May. And they had to pull it because it was starting to run into their next round of marketing, which was like the Blu-ray and the digital circuit. So, but yeah, I remember that.
Yep. And then when the Bad Boys, they made their $100 million back over a weekend. That's, like I said, it's just shades of the Black Panther movie. As soon as they tried to put out a narrative so people can feel one way, we end up showing up and showing out. But on this Stephen A. Smith situation, man, I want to ask this question because I'm for the life of me just been trying to figure it out. How is a person who needs to have a conversation with the Black community going to tell another person that they need to have a conversation with the Black community? I'm completely baffled by that.
Listen, I don't want to have a conversation with Stephen A. Smith at all. Like I don't. I don't.
I'll be honest with you. It's like, God dang it, you can't come up to me and tell me I'm gonna be punished when you've been exiled. I don't understand any of that. You're not even a part of the tribe. How are you gonna get them to do anything to me? That makes no sense at all, man. And he had so much funk for Angel Reese. He had so much funk for Kyrie. But people like Dana White, he's so soft-spoken. People like, and if I'm remembering correctly too, wasn't he trying to take up for Jerry Jones when that picture came out? Where he was out,
I mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole situation, and this man just Jerry Jones is my friend. Same way Dana White. Dana White is my friend. He made a mistake. But yet, you want to try to pinpoint everybody else's actions when they're Black. You don't have no fire for any of those white folks. That makes no sense to me. And this dude is literally one of those people that you can guarantee as soon as something happened to the establishment, he's going to be the first person they tried out, the first lapdog that jump off the lap, ain't even got Got to tell him to go. He's just jumping off and doing it, man. But with the Rob Schneider situation, yeah, the committee that he's on was the Oscar committee, and back when I think that how you get on there, you're selected to be on that committee for a certain amount of years.
Mm-hmm.
But he was actually in the audience when Roman Polanski got his award. You dig what I'm saying? That's why he ain't gonna say nothing about Roman Polanski because he rocks with Roman Polanski. Like it's a lot of those people in the I don't know if you saw that one clip where the British guy is telling a joke about everybody in the room was basically friends with.
That was Ricky Gervais.
Right. When
he was hosting the Golden Globes, and he basically said that after this one, I probably won't be hosting again. And it's crazy he spoke that into existence because he has not hosted it since.
Has not hosted it since. And Rob Schneider was in the audience when he did that as well. So like this dude hands ain't clean whatsoever. The movie I remember him from, not because it was funny or nothing, is because basically they made him a chick. It's hot chick. You dig what I'm saying? Where he switched places with some chick or whatever. But he's never like Xavier said, he's never been an A-list celebrity. He's always been a D-list celebrity. Waterboy is probably his best work. That's it. Like that's it. Deuce Bigelow was hit or miss. Like you had to really Deuce Bigelow survived off of Eddie Griffin. Eddie Griffin kind of made that movie what it was to me in my eyes. Because this dude didn't have any type of lasting, like any type of talent when I saw him. But shout out to you, Tori. I ain't going to hold you too long. Much love for you. Thank you for having me up. B1.
B1. All right. Shout out to Church of Black Power. Next up, we got Joseph. What's going on?
Salute, Torian. Salute to the chat room. And Will Smith's, and let me just say, Will Smith's success this weekend has created a ripple effect because Jonathan Majors is supposed to be getting an award soon at an event in spite of what happened to him.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so I was like, yep. When I skimmed, because I had to reread that article, I said to myself, all it takes is just one of us to have that redemption story in Hollywood, and the ripple effect will start. And Stephen A. Smith, I just say the acronym SAS because that's all I heard listening to him talk. It's like it's literally a personality quiz, and I was like, oh, Stephen A. Smith, Mr. Sass himself. So yeah, and I'm disappointed in Shannon Sharp.
Like I said, I got some words for Shannon Sharp. I actually recorded a video about him, and y'all will be getting that soon. But just be on the lookout for that because I got some words for him and his behavior as of late.
Because his two major highlights were Cat Williams and Monique. And the way he is like stomping for Caitlin Clark, I was just saying to myself, look, Angel Reese is going to be on the 2028 Team USA Dream Team before Caitlin Clark, regardless of how many magazines promote Caitlin Clark. Just saying. But yeah, with what Will did at one of the theaters, I hope celebrities that have gone through what he has gone through take notes and maybe try doing some of that for like their movies. Like if it's like a summer blockbuster or like, you know, an exciting movie, just attend a random theater, blend in with the audience and just, you know, intermingle with them. You'll see how much grass.
Yeah, to be honest with you, like Will Smith is actually not the first person I've seen do that, but I understand where it is you're coming from. I would say when Jonathan Majors like gets back into good graces, he should definitely do that for sure. You know, for sure. And I think he probably will. I mean, as long as he has a good team behind him, I'm sure that he's gonna know exactly what to do. He doesn't come off as a person who's like dumb. or inexperienced. That's why I was saying that for people who think about getting into this industry, make sure that you know the business side of it, not just the glamour part of it. You have, because they call it show business for a reason. The key word there is business. Know the business side of it so you know how to maneuver. That way they can't get you. That's why you don't be finding Denzel Washington in no scandals like that outside of Katie Couric trying to throw some stuff on him, but that ain't go very far because people's like, Katie, get out of here. But Denzel Washington, he only makes appearances when he's invited. He don't be showing up nowhere uninvited. And when he does go places, he's there with his wife. He don't go nowhere by himself. He's there with Pauletta Washington and sometimes his kids. I said that's because Denzel knows how to do it.
And if you do see any interviews of him, it will be like 3 to 5 to 7 years old, and he's just dropping gems on like those who want to come into Hollywood. It's like, oh, wait a minute, Denzel did an interview. When was this? It's like, oh, this was years ago. So he would do interviews, and you probably won't see them until like maybe 2 to 3 years after he did the original interview. But yeah. People, especially anyone Black who's looking to like go into Hollywood, should take like cues from Denzel and, like he said, learn the business side of it. Just watch the greats and how they maneuver. Samuel L. Jackson had been doing like support roles for like years, and as soon as he broke out as Nick Fury in the Avengers, his career went nowhere but up, and now he's chilling.
Exactly.
I just wanted to come up and share that bit. Thanks for having me up. It's always good to be on this panel.
No problem.
But no problem.
Shout out to Joseph coming up. Next up, we got Blue Boat Sports Observer in Politics.
Yo, what's going on, Toria Ray, man? It's my first time hollering at you, man. You know what I mean? Peace and bless to you. You know what I mean? I like your content. I respect your content. You're straight and narrow, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just, I gotta say, it's a damn shame. We got a lot of brothers out here that's like, pretty much like Stephen A. Smith. I find it funny, ironic that you got a lot of content creators on here that want to catch Stephen A. Smith, but yet they use the same talking points. Don't you find that funny? You know what I mean? I mean, for the most part, it's the most people who are doing this. A lot of them are grifting, just like that's what Stephen A. is doing right now, especially when it pertains to Caitlin Clark and even Shannon Sharp is pretty much doing the same thing. A lot of them don't even know what they're saying. Right, and I'm really, I'm really disappointed in Shannon Sharp, man. You know what I mean? But I should have seen this coming the moment he signed with ESPN. I mean, I was thinking like he was going to challenge a lot of Stephen A.'s points, like he did Skip Bayless, but it's been none of that. It's been none of that. You know what I mean? You've seen he's been, Stephen A. Smith has his panties in a bunch. And I guess about that time, Stephen, I call him Stephen A. Second Place. That's my name for him.
It seems that a lot of people, it seems that a lot of people have different nicknames for him and they all fit.
Right. Exactly. And it's like the whole Caitlin Clark, Monica, and McNutt situation, trying to undermine her. Did a cowardly move, going on his platform, going on his podcast, calling Monica out. The thing about that is, you could have did that while you were on the air. If you had actually felt that way. That's his little safe haven because people won't call his bullshit out on it. Sorry if I'm cussing. You know what I mean? People won't call his BS out. On national TV, so he goes to his safe haven and he does his typical Uncle Tom and shucking and jiving routine on there. And then too, you notice he's starting to get on my nerves with this whole LeBron James narrative that he's a coach killer. You notice that too, right?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. When it comes to, like I said, when it comes to Stephen A. Smith, I don't watch anything that he does. The reason why I know about this is because this was sent to me. See, when it comes to Stephen A., people have to send something to me. I won't go out of my way to look up or even search Stephen A. Smith's name into anything. It just kind of pops up.
He's upset. He's in his feelings, and he's got PMS because LeBron James started a podcast, and he swears up and down he did it to undermine Darvin Ham. Never mind the fact that Darvin Ham was an office coach and Darvin Ham was a very inexperienced coach. So how does that add up? You know, I mean, this is just another agenda to call out black people. He did it with Colin Kaepernick. He tried to do it with Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens called him out on his BS, saying Max Kellerman is acting blacker than he is. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Remember that one? And then this whole thing about Will Smith, man, he just he must be bored as hell or something, man. You know what I mean? Because the BS that he's spewing, he can't be living reality, man. He cannot be living reality at all, man, because everything that's going on is the opposite. He's the one that's stuck in the past, but yet this is just another example of shucking and jiving for his higher-ups. That's all that is. You know what I mean? And it's like, he's become a joke. He's always been a joke. He's always been like this. You know what I mean? And you got all this smoke for Monica McNutt, but when racist, you know, Trump bearing Michelle Beadle went in on you, you had nothing to say. Nothing to say. Nothing to say at all, man.
They was about to hand Stephen A that pink slip, and he switched up real fast.
Right. He about to get fired. He about to get his ass fired the second time. You know what I mean? All because of Michelle Beadle. But as usual, he tap danced, shuck and jive his way out of that situation. But yet, you got all this smoke for Monica McNutt on your podcast. But yet, didn't do the same, didn't do a damn thing about Michelle Beadle. We know what Michelle Beadle is all about.
Definitely.
So it's like, and then with the whole Rob Schneider thing, his only claim of fame is realistically, he had like maybe one or two movies he had. Outside of Saturday Night Live, he flopped. Think about it. Really think about it. He flopped. Out of all that alum that came out of there at Saturday Night Live, whatever, he's the one that flopped the most. Think about it. Think about it. So it's like, you know, I mean, Rob, I would just take what Rob Schneider says with a grain of salt because we know what it's about.
Right.
And a lot of these people in Hollywood, you know what I mean, deep down kind of resented Will Smith because, like you said, one of the Grammy winning went from a Grammy winning rapper to an Academy winning actor, you know? And it's like, that was unprecedented, man. The way he reinvented himself, the way he built himself and then reinvented himself again, you know? You know, like his rise has created a lot of resentment and a lot of jealousy with people like Rob Schneider, you know? And the whole thing about forgiving and getting, we've been over that whole slap situation, you know what I mean? They sell it behind closed doors like grown adults, you know? So it's like water under the bridge, man. But Stephen A. Second place wants to bring up old news just to keep his name relevant. Crazy,
right,
man.
All right, Blue Bolt, I gotta actually let you go because I got a couple more people that I gotta let come up.
Right. I didn't mean to hold your time, man. Good salute to you, salute to the channel, man, and I'm gonna hit you up. I'm out.
All right. Appreciate you coming up. All right, next up we got Miss Nisi. Let me just let you rock because I have a feeling I know you about to go somewhere with this one.
Well, hallelujah, I finally got up here. I was trying to beat Wallow J, but I can't beat Wallow J. He got StreamYards on speed dial. I'm convinced.
No, Wallow J be right there. As soon as that link drop, he right there clicking. Quick with it. Wallow J be quick with it.
Yeah, he do. But anywho, my quick statement. Cecilia voice. It's like fingernails going down a chalkboard. Truth be told, I don't know how he can talk because he didn't swallow so many PC. You know what? When his downfall, his final downfall comes, I'm gonna be cheering. I'm like, I'm just sick of the coonery, buffoonery, I'm sick of it.
You and me both, and everyone in this chat.
Lord. And I also send out my congratulations to both Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. May Bad Boys for what's Bad Boys 4 be the only blockbuster film of 2024.
Yeah, shout out to them.
That's the best revenge. Count your money.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I'm getting off. You know me. But the previous caller, he had a mighty deep voice, didn't he?
Yep. And I'm looking in the chat right now. Y'all in the chat ain't right. Y'all ain't right.
Oh, I'm not cracking on him.
I'm not either. I'm talking about the chat.
Oh, I've been reading the comments on my screen on TV.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, again, I reiterate, enjoy yourself this weekend, but be on the ready, boo-boo.
I will do. I will. Thank you.
I know, because you like my second son.
Thank you.
You're welcome, baby. Be blessed.
All right. Shout out to Miss Nisi coming up. And the last person I should say that's coming up today is Aquarius.
Hi, how are you guys doing this evening?
How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate, just for a little bit. When Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, there were a lot of Black people and Black men especially going in on Will because they were saying he was caping for Jada and Jada was his downfall and all this other stuff. So I think that gave Stephen A an avenue to come in and try to get those guys to get back up, to rally up around his nonsense. And as far as Shay, I mean, he's always been a buck dancer. Always. I don't understand why people are just now surprised that he's following behind Stephen A. Smith. That's just what I wanted to say. If you can, elaborate on that, I would really appreciate it.
I mean, I see, understand. I see what you're saying, but the thing is, I know why Stephen A. did what he did, because he was rehashing something that a lot of people got over. And like I said, when I was going over the numbers and the demographics, it's clear that a lot of Black people clearly have gotten over it, but the way he's framing it, let him tell it, none of us got over it. Like I told you, I only talked about it one time when that happened, and that was it. It was a lot of people, again, that did video after video and was trying to do all this stuff, just drag it out. And I know why they did it. It was because it was a shocking thing. No one saw it coming. It was unexpected. It wasn't scripted, and it was in the algorithm. So people were trying to get their views up and everything. But then once that died down and settled, people went right back to business as usual. And over 2 years later, clearly people are definitely over it because the money speaks for itself. And Stephen A., he didn't have to bring that up. And the thing is, if you just wanted Will to be on your sad little show, all you had to do was reach out to him. But you want to know what it really is? And I don't know if people knew this about this or not, but Will and Martin, while they were in the midst of promoting the movie, they went on Nightcap, which is Shannon Sharp's and Ocho Cinco's podcast that they have together. They went on there. He's probably just upset that Will didn't go onto his platform. Will has gone on so many platforms, whether it was mainstream platforms or even stuff that's relegated to online, but he didn't go to Stephen A. Smith's platform. And how ironic that he makes this statement when he didn't think about going on his show. His people probably told him not to go on there. And you know what? If that's the case, good for him. That just means he got a good team, because I wouldn't go on there.
True. That's all I wanted to say. I love your show. I love everybody. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Shout out to Aquarius for coming up. And that was the last person to come up today. Shout out to everybody who came up and spoke today to this topic. I kind of knew I was going to have an influx of people because this is a topic that I know y'all wanted to hear about. But yeah, Stephen A. Smith, or Stephen A. for Asshole Smith, as I like to call him, is off code. He's always been off code. I always say Stephen A. Smith is like Pinocchio. You know how Pinocchio, every time he lies, his nose grow? Well, every time Stephen A. Smith does the Sambo shuffle, his hairline recedes. I mean, at this point, I'm surprised the man ain't out here looking like Homer Simpson. But like I said, I did this live tonight because I kind of figured I probably won't be available tomorrow to do the 6 o'clock. So that's why I did the live today. So tomorrow, of course, y'all will be getting the premiere video, which will be about the comments that Kathy Hochul made about Black people not knowing what a computer is, with her goofy Victorian age looking ass. And that'll be, pretty much it. Then, of course, Saturday's the rally. I'll try to, well, not even try to. I most likely will go live, but it'll be from my phone from the rally. So those of y'all who are watching at home or couldn't make it, y'all will be able to watch it from there. I think the next time I'll actually go live will most likely be on Monday, because I will not be going live on Sunday. That is Father's Day. So shout out to everybody that came through. I hope that y'all enjoyed this show. Shout out to everybody who will catch this on the replay, #replay gang. And with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Be safe and be one.